After launching Unity Gym in the high-cost environment of North Sydney, we quickly realised we lacked the necessary skills to run and scale a successful brick-and-mortar business. With a commercial lease and operating costs topping $500,000 annually, our financial stability was on thin ice.
I can still remember the day that I opened the email from the ATO with a $363,000 tax bill. I'm pretty sure I reached out to you straight away, Rad, and I was like in just perplexed, in disbelief. I had no idea what we were going to do.
Yeah, I think you did reach out to me straight away.
It was terrifying. It was
Yeah.
absolutely terrifying. So what happened was that we were struggling financially, and we didn't really know how to run a business of that scale. And
We didn't
as a
know at all how
result,
to run a business of
as a
that
result,
scale.
all we sort of focused on were the top of line sort of budget items. Can we make payroll? Can we pay rent? Can we keep the lights on, pay electricity? That was it, but we weren't putting aside money for our superannuation. We weren't putting, which is like a retirement fund. It's a compulsory retirement fund in Australia for those of you in the US. And we also weren't paying our goods and services tax. We weren't paying our quarterly payroll taxes. And it just, you just keep pushing it to the side. I'm sure small business owners can relate. And don't worry, we're going to bring this into a practical point for you guys in the health and fitness space. But we just first want to remember all the way through this series, Rad and I have shared our anecdotal stories based on business and finance, because we had, if we go right back to the start, we talk again about remind you about the mental blueprints that we create. Both Rad and I have always had a really good health blueprint. We've never been unhealthy. There was a very short period of time, I remember, when Rad came back from deployment when he was in the military as an infantry soldier, and he'd clearly been hitting the beers pretty hard. And I gave him a little bit of crap because I saw him without a t-shirt on, and your abs weren't quite as ripped as they usually were. And I was like,
Oh,
oh man,
I put on about 5 or 8 kilos. I definitely
yeah,
got chubby in that first 6 months in the army. But yeah, what Yanni's pointing out is that the reason why we're sharing stories about business is because for us, business and finance and moving away from being drug addicted people, that was the big breakthrough that we had. So we didn't have a huge breakthrough transformation around health and fitness because we have exercised most of our lives, and we've stayed, probably in the top 10% of health and fitness for the population for our whole lives. So that's what Yanni means.
yeah. And when Rad says drug addicted, we weren't like heroin smack junkies or anything like that. We
We just had a
smoked a
weekend.
lot of weed, and we drank a lot of alcohol, and we had a bit of a recreational drug abuse issue during our 20s, and that was, yeah, it's something that I think everyone can relate to. I also got a little bit addicted to painkillers because I had a really bad back pain. And I don't know whether when you were hobbling around on your walking stick after
Oh
when
yeah,
you
I
had
was.
your PARs, were you smashing pain pills as
Oh,
well?
absolutely, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was back when you could get
You get
codeine.
hardcore opiates for,
Yeah, you
across
could
the
you could
counter.
get
Yeah.
codeine across the counter. You didn't need a prescription for it,
Prescription.
and I was having codeine and paracetamol almost daily because I was in a lot of
Yeah.
pain. Yeah.
Now, let me just point out, in Australia, we've never had the opiate issues that you guys in America have had. Uh, simply, I just don't even think we've got anything as strong over the counter that you
Yeah,
guys
we
can
don't.
get
Let's not
in
digress though.
America.
Let's
Yeah,
stay on topic.
yeah, good point. So, you know, the situation for us was really, really pretty. It was awful. It was really awful. It took us 5 years at Unity Gym to break even, meaning that we were no longer losing money. And for the first few years, we were losing about $10,000 a month, and we were just going further and further into debt. And then it took a further 2 years to start making a profit. And that's not because we weren't good at what we did. We were great personal trainers. We'd run very successful personal training businesses at other people's gyms for a decade already. At least I had. Rad had spent a stint in the military. the problem was we had no idea how to run a big brick and mortar business with huge overheads, and we were both terrible with money, so we overspent when we did our fit out. We bought too much expensive flashy equipment. We blew our budget with the build and the fit out in the gym. We were converting an old restaurant to a gym, so it was a lot of work. A lot of people said we were completely crazy for doing it, and we should have just taken over a building that had already had a gym in it, so we didn't have to go through that process. And in hindsight, yeah, we absolutely should have. We had no clue. My mentor at the time, Kerwin Ray, used to call us uninformed optimists when we started a new business. It was hilarious. What are you trying to bring up there?
That
Oh, there's the old. Oh yeah, right. Look at that. The old photos.
that
God,
was our gym when we
yeah,
when we
when we took it on.
when we took it on. That's what it
We
looked
took
like.
this old desolate restaurant that needed the kitchen gutted out and all sorts of stuff. Oh man, I've still got a photo of myself sleeping, grabbing a kip on a 2x4 piece of timber on the ground, because Rad and I were working as personal trainers during the day and then going to the gym and working as laborers and builders at night, doing all the work in the gym to help with the fit out. It was hectic. Yeah, you can't really, if anyone's watching it on the phone, they're not going to be able to see that,
Oh well.
unfortunately. But, and if you're listening on the podcast, jump over to YouTube. Rad's actually flashing up some photos of the build and us. And we had members helping us out. Remember, we had
Oh yeah.
heaps of our members, our PT members coming and helping us as laborers. Yeah, it was an amazing time. And look, it was an incredible experience,
But we had no idea how to run a business. We really didn't.
Yeah. And so, what turned it around for us was this experience with a couple of mentors. At the time, we were working with two amazing mentors, Sean Greeley and Net Profit Explosion, MPE, and Kerwin Ray. I was in Kerwin's K2 group. And, I have to put it down to those guys both. They both had influences in slightly different ways. Sean was very hands-on, great systems that were tried and tested and proven in fitness businesses. And Kerwin was amazing with me because I needed help with the psychological side of things of becoming a leader, and he really nurtured me through that process and helped me become the leader that I needed to be. And at the time, Kerwin had a guy working with him who was really good with numbers and helped nurture me to become the CFO of the business that we needed, so that I learned how to manage money and finance, which was something that, God bless him, our father and also mum never really could do and couldn't help us with, And so what the big breakthrough moment for us was the ability to look at a situation, create a goal. Okay, we need to get from X to Y by when. That comes from the 4DX book, by the way, that concept of having very specific goals, X to Y by when, and then reverse engineering it into a way where you could see how you were going to achieve it. So an annual target, an annual strategic priority would get broken down into monthly goals. And then that monthly goal, and Kerwin put it really well. He said, imagine your big, hairy, audacious annual goal is a pie, like a pie that you're going to eat, a big apple pie. Then the monthly goal is a piece of the pie. And, or maybe he said the weekly goal is a piece of the pie. And then your daily tasks is a bite of the pie. And you want to break this down. So we would have our annual priority, and we would brain dump all of the annual priorities. And I'm going to show you how this works for health as well in a moment. You'd have your annual priority. Rad and I would brain dump everything we needed to achieve. I think getting out of debt has remained on the annual priorities every year for about a decade. And then we would decide which one we're going to focus on. What's the domino? What's the lowest hanging fruit? If we knock that first domino over, what's going to continue knocking dominoes over after that? And that concept comes from Gary Keller's The One Thing, which is also in the book list that you guys are going to get in the Peak Potential Planner. And I think we're giving it to everyone for free, the book list, Rad. I think there's going to be a link in all of these descriptions, and you'll be able to download the book, the list of books where we learn all this stuff from. Anyway, we would choose our quarterly priority, and then we'd break that quarterly priority down into monthly goals. And then monthly goals would become weekly goals, and we would then categorize everything, and we'd allocate or delegate, key jobs to specific people. And then we would break those weekly goals into daily tasks. And then we would go and time block our calendar into times when we were going to work on those daily tasks. So you can see that we're reverse engineering these big problems that would usually be a real challenge, and that you would just go, how am I going to achieve that? There's Rad's showing now this is his calendar, his Google calendar, and so
this is my calendar for this week. This is what I got off.
There you go. And have you got do you still have a schedule in Google Docs that you can show? I do. I don't know if I can share it with you. I've actually got a good one. Let me show mine. I'll send you a link, because it shows you this task that we're doing right now, which is just give me a sec. I'm just going to pull this up. I'll throw it in the management channel. There you go.
Yanni, this is all in the Peak Potential Planner, and at the cost of this taking too long, the idea is that it's not just about saying, hey, I've got a goal and I want to do it. It's about really identifying how you break that goal down into smaller goals, into quarterly goals, then monthly goals, then weekly goals, and then daily tasks. And then you time block your calendar like what I've done here, and like what Yanni does, so that you know, okay, at this time I'm doing my training session, at this time I'm having my smoothie, at this time I'm doing my priority task, and at this time I'm doing this. And you stick to it. And when you stick to it, you achieve a lot. And
I can't see it from there. I can't see your color coding, but is the pink family time?
Purple, yep.
Purple, yeah, same for me, yeah. So you can see, like, one of Rad and my goals, financial time and location freedom, is an enormous amount of time allocated to our families, and you can see how
because
much
we didn't
time
for my son up until his 4th birthday, I wasn't there for one single morning except for the first 2 weeks of his life. I never saw him in the morning. I used to leave home at 4:30 a.m. Or earlier to get to work and open the gym, and then I'd get back in the evening at about 5 p.m. and I was just exhausted. So when
there was a period of time, and it should be said, that you were commuting from the Central Coast on a train for how long? How many hours every morning?
An hour and a half. I'd get up at hour and 45. I'd get up at 3:30 a.m. to be out the door at 3:45 a.m. to get on a train at 3:55. So all I'd do is get up, go to the toilet, get dressed, and walk out the door. And then I'd be on a train at 3:55 a.m. and I'd get to North Sydney at 5:40 a.m. to open the gym at 6 a.m.
Wow.
And I did that for about a year. And then I'd have to get on a train to get home. I'd have to be on a train at about 3:30 to get home by about 6:30 p.m. Oh, no, 5:30 p.m. And I was just fucked by the time I got home.
Just for a moment, live on this podcast, just compare that to what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, now I still get up at 5 a.m. and I do that because I don't get good sleep after 5 a.m. It doesn't matter if I stay up until midnight. I still wake up when the birds wake up and when the sun comes up, and I just feel like crap if I stay up till midnight. So my eyes still open at the same time. I still wake up. I just feel like shit. So I go to bed by 9 p.m. and I get up at 5 a.m. because I'd rather do something with that time than just lay there. You talk about goals. You talk about we're in a minute. We're going to talk about systems. We're going to talk about habits. I've created a system, habit, whatever you want to call it, that I get up at 5 a.m. no matter what, because I know that if I get up at 5 a.m., when you look at my calendar, what I do at 5 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is a priority task, which means I'm in front of my computer at 5:15. I don't even have a coffee then. All I do is get up, get dressed, and go to the toilet, and then I'm down here. I don't have a coffee until this time here, and I do that because of an Andrew Huberman podcast where he talked about what caffeine does to your system when you have it at least 90 minutes after you wake up versus having it straight away when you wake up. It has a completely different effect on your adrenals and your cortisol levels, because your body learns to stimulate itself naturally, and then when the caffeine comes in, it doesn't have the same effect that causes you to have that energy crash at lunchtime. And I don't know if you remember, I used to go to sleep every day when I had my lunch, anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half at the gym, because I
Yeah.
couldn't keep my eyes open. I don't do that anymore. And I don't do it anymore ever. I don't do it. Maybe I shouldn't say ever. Maybe sometimes I go up and I have a nap for 15 minutes, but you can, Yanni will verify this. You could set your clock by it. When I
It
have my
used to do
lunch,
my head up.
when
It
I,
used to do my head in.
when I
And you
have,
know the reason. Sorry, go on, keep
no,
going.
when I'd have my lunch and then I'd just go bang and I was gone. And I'd have to lay down for minimum 20 minutes and sometimes 2 hours because I was so exhausted. But I don't.
You know, the only reason why I used to tolerate that
Why?
is because in what's the book called? It's in Warren Buffett, in his biography, which is a 900-page book. It's one of the first books I ever read in finance. He talked about the fact that he did some of his best work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon after he'd had an hour nap every day at 1, and he had a couch in his office at Berkshire Hathaway.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a ritual
Yeah.
every day. And he got up at 5 a.m. as well, because he liked to have his
Yeah.
finger on the pulse for the markets before the markets opened.
Yeah.
And then at 1 o'clock every afternoon, he laid down for a 90-minute nap. And then he'd been doing that since he was middle aged. It wasn't an old man thing. It was just in his DNA. And then he'd get up and he was so fresh, and he'd do another, few hours work, and he did his best work. So
I do it
was
if I'm tired, but
Warren Buffett does it.
but most days I don't need to anymore now. But I get up at 5, and on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I get an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes work done here before my family even gets up. And then I get up, and then when they get up, I go up. I'm actually usually up there as they're getting up, and I take our dog for a 5 or 10 minute walk, and then I have a coffee with my wife, my first coffee of the day, well, my only coffee of the day. And then I spend a little bit of time with my son, and I have a second smoothie. I have my first smoothie there when I get up. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, I teach a class outdoors. And I do one-on-one coaching calls sometimes here when they're booked. But yeah, I do that because that amount of time there, that's an incredibly productive time for me. There's just no distractions at all. Nothing comes in the way of getting that done except for myself. So that's why I do that. But yeah, Yanni wanted me to show that, because you compare that to getting up at 3:30 a.m., having to get a train and being in work and just being exhausted, and never seeing my family until I got home at about 5:30. And now I have good family time in the morning, and then I have really good family time in the evening. And I've even just added this now on 2 days a week, because we were noticing that Kiani was acting out a bit because he wasn't getting enough time with me at the park. So now 2 days a week, I pick him up from school and I take him down to the park for an hour, and then I come back to do my second training session. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's an example of systems. These are systems here that are based around goals. But I think we should let's really turn this into fitness for people now, for those of you that have been listening. How does this relate to fitness? How does this relate to you, for those of you who have... Whoops, I'm pressing the wrong buttons here. Why is this happening? Oh, it looks like we've lost Yanni. There you go. I'll keep talking until Yanni comes back. So to bring it into fitness here, where a lot of people fall short is that setting the goal is usually the easy part. Most people have got a goal when they come into a fitness program. So when most people are, joining a fitness program, joining a gym, coming to us for online coaching, they're usually pretty clear on a goal. What we spoke about in one of the earlier episodes, actually it's coming up, is talking about the why. Why is your goal important to you? To get crystal clear on that. But then this is where people fall short. They don't create systems or habits that are going to achieve their goals. Like, for example, for me, my habit around my goals is that I have my training sessions blocked in my calendar. That's the orange time here. Those are my training sessions. And I do 2 training sessions a day. You don't need to do that, but that's because I'm a fitness professional and I'm the person that does all of our social media stuff. And so it's important for me to lead by example and to be able to do the things that everybody asks me to show them videos on how to do. So I've created a system where it's time blocked in my diary for when I do my training. And that's really, really important. And something that I think I can help all of you guys with is not only time block when you're going to train, but remove as much as you can from your schedule that isn't a goal of yours. Like, for example, watching Netflix or any streaming service or movies or anything. I'm sure that most of you listening to this, you don't have a goal to watch, 20 hours of Netflix a week. I'm sure that's not a goal. It probably often happens for a lot of people, but it's not like it's a goal that you want to get your life out of. It's what we do to wind down. Same with, I'm sure you probably don't have a goal to respond to every single notification on your phone. So if you turn notifications off, and if you don't prioritize watching Netflix, and you use social media and Netflix or things like that as a reward for when you get everything done, and then the way that you live your life is, most people can only really excel in 3 things. So for most people, it's work and family. Some people it's not family, but most people that are conscious, it's work and family. And then it means that third spot, people are really vying for. It's like they're really, you've got to decide what is going to be that third spot. For me, it's training. It's getting healthy and fit. And so when you've identified what that third spot is that you're going to put emphasis on in your life, put that before everything else. Put it before Netflix, put it before social media, put it before, everything. And then you have your minimum workout, your goal workout, and your ideal workout. So you have your goal workout, your minimum workout, and your ideal workout. Or if I say it in order, minimum workout, goal workout, and ideal workout. And your goal workout is usually, it's the thing that you plan to do. So for example, with the UMS, a goal workout is an hour workout, a 40-minute or an hour workout. That's what we program in the app. That's what gives you your strength and flexibility and fitness. And that's what most people can put in their calendar and say, yeah, I can do this. That's my goal workout. But then you'll have days where you just, for whatever reason, you're running late or you've got a lot of meetings or whatever. And that's when you drop back to your minimum workout. And in the UMS, we teach people that the minimum workout is just the warm-up or the 20-minute mobility routine or the warm-up and then just a couple of sets of their primary workout. It's basically something that's going to take between 10 and 20 minutes. And if you do that, if you did that every day for 2 weeks, as opposed to a really busy 2 weeks where you did nothing, your results will be infinitely better. And then you have your ideal workout. And the ideal workout might be a 90-minute workout. It might be that you do your goal workout and then you do an extra 20 or 30 minutes of flexibility training. Or it might be that you do your goal workout and then you do an extra 20 or 30 minutes on the treadmill or the cycle, the spin bike. Or it might be that you do your goal workout in the morning and then in the evening you go for a 30-minute run. So that's like if everything goes right in your life, then you get your ideal workout done. And so the system that I'm saying here is, you don't leave circumstance that's out of your control. You don't give the power of those circumstances. You don't give those circumstances the power to dictate whether you're going to do your workout or not. You control that power by having your minimum workout, your goal workout, and your ideal workout. And then it doesn't matter what circumstances happen. You'll have a day where there's not much going on and you immediately go, sweet, I'm going to do my ideal workout today. And you know exactly what you have to do. You don't have to expend calories thinking about what you're going to do. You don't have to go on YouTube and try and find something. You don't have to put something together. You already know what you want to do for your ideal workout. And then on the other days where you're like, oh my God, I'm so busy, I'm not going to be able to fit this 60-minute workout in today. You know what, I'm just going to jump down real quick and I'm just going to do 10 or 20 minutes of mobility because that's still going to take me a step towards my goal. And so those are systems that relate to fitness that are going to get you to where you want to go. And without those systems, what we've identified is that people really struggle to achieve goals because goals without systems are really just an idea. It's the system, it's the habit that does the work, the actions that achieve the outcome.
It's the plan, yeah,
Okay,
and
that's right.
we're using plan as the language. But what Rad's saying is absolutely right, and it doesn't matter. Like for example, for our example personally, anecdotally, launching a business that we were just in over our heads and crashing and burning financially, or endeavoring on a big physical or mental transformation with your health, with your body, with your physique, with your skill. You might be taking on martial arts, calisthenics, whatever it is, running a marathon. It could be anything really. Without a plan, it's nothing. And this is what Dr. Gail Matthews discovered with her research at the Dominican Republic University. It is absolutely essential that you create a plan. Yes, writing your goal down is going to be a good starting point. Having a vision is going to be an even better starting point. But then without reverse engineering it and then gaining that accountability that we're going to talk about in a future podcast episode, it all just falls apart. It goes nowhere. Setting an annual goal is essential, but breaking it down into quarterly, monthly, weekly, and even daily objectives is truly what drives progress. This methodical breakdown transforms overwhelming tasks into manageable actions, maintaining motivation through regular, tangible achievements. In the Peak Potential Planner, we integrate things like this planning process, which actually came from a guy called Vern Harnish. I learned it through Kerwin Ray, and he swiped it from Vern Harnish's book, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits, I believe. Marrying that concept with Dr. Gail Matthews' goal setting strategy is really, really, really powerful. And then, the planning process should also be deeply rooted in your core values, your purpose, and your mission, your vision. That's very, very important too, And as we spoke about earlier in our goal setting episode, your all of that you should really understand why those goals are important to you. You should drill down on your deeply rooted reason why. We call it the burning desire. Why is this goal so important to me? And we have a great exercise for doing that in the Peak Potential Planner. I like to say the ambitious goals you set for the year need to be reverse engineered into smaller, attainable milestones that you can really make tangible. And then, remembering what Rad spoke about in an earlier episode about the concept of lead and lag measures, and then breaking it down into lead measures that you can actually change the outcome of in real time, in present time, right now. What can you do right now that's going to push your goal forward? Because if you stand on the scales and you're trying to lose weight, there's absolutely nothing you can do in that moment except maybe take a wee or do a poop that is going to make you lighter on the scales.
Yeah.
It's what you do in the lead up to that, the lead measures that are going to move the needle on the scale.
Yeah. Well, let's bring this one in for landing, Yanni, because in the next episode we're going to be talking about the true cost of success and a personal tale for Yanni and I of love and loss, and what we experienced on the very bumpy road to get to where we are now, and how we overcame massive hardship to still be able to turn out for the best and triumph. So if you got something out of this episode, as always, please share it with your friends. Do it right now. Hit that share button, copy the link, put it into a message, send it on to somebody that you think would like it, and smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review if you're listening to the podcast. All that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next episode.